and friends, welcome to another Talks with Liem Lee, where this is available to the billions around the world on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and so many other platforms.
Billions!
I am your host, Liem Lee. I bring the perspective of nearly 2 decades as a software engineer. Today, my sidekick is...
I am Emmett Morgan. I am a Las Vegas realtor. I hold a degree in accounting from San Diego State University. I love scotch today, and I'm having a good hair day. We are lucky to have Steven Vasquez joining us from San Diego. This dude is a mad scientist with batteries somehow. Steven, can you tell us what is going on with batteries?
Yeah, my name's Steven Vasquez. I have my own YouTube channel, My Tesla Powerwall. Where I just kind of go through it, and I've been doing the battery building for about 2-3 years, and I've had a YouTube channel for about 4 months or so. But yeah, that's I'm excited to talk batteries with you guys.
So Steven is recycling certain types of lithium-ion batteries into his own version of a Tesla Powerwall. What is your YouTube channel? How do we find you if we're going to go see what you've produced here?
It's My Tesla Powerwall. Just basically search it. There's not a ton of subscribers yet, but yeah, just search it on YouTube and you'll find it. Or if I'm cool enough, maybe put it in the description.
Nice. Yeah, I'll add that in there. Yeah, on the My Tesla Powerwall, your stuff, you go from like starting from scratch. You show how you're spot welding to the battery, these copper connectors, if I'm correct, with the fuses, and you're building the whole pack with the little black spacers to hold the batteries in, and then the copper wires carrying the
conductors.
It's the wire.
Inductors.
Wire.
Yep, and you're showing someone how to build that. Put it all together where it's like 120 it's 20 batteries, 5x4 batteries, and then you're getting like probably 100 batteries in a pack or something. So
it's like 240 per pack. Yeah.
240 per pack.
240 per pack per one parallel. So there's 2 parallels. So technically it's 480, but I split it into 2 because if I connected all those together into one pack, I wouldn't be able to carry it. So putting it into 2 makes it more manageable when I need to possibly take one out to repair a cell or replace a cell.
Awesome.
But yeah,
they're heavy.
And for the audience to know, we're gonna nerd out for the next 3 hours on this. So stay tuned.
Battery time.
Battery. So that's kind of the first thing, the Powerwall thing. So you got your own channel.
Yeah.
I actually watched I want to say I've watched 4 or 5 of the videos, and I'm not sure. I think I saw you have like 7 or 8 videos on there.
Yeah. It's right now. It's more instructional. Like I'm just kind of showing how I make the batteries because this is the biggest project I've ever done. I built one that was smaller. It was about 16 kilowatts or kilowatt hours. And when I finished it, it was charging my car. I think that's the first video I put on there when it was done. And I actually show you, I walk and plug the car in and show how the inverter turns on, starts using the batteries. You can see the solar coming in,
to explain that anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, you have you found recycled batteries. No, you're recycling batteries and building something that's equivalent to a Tesla Powerwall. Is that a correct?
That is perfect. That is a better way to put it than I would have.
So you're making your own Powerwall out of used parts.
Yeah, basically, I saw this YouTube. I ordered a Tesla. The Model 3 a long time ago when it was like the pre-order was happening. And I have roommates. So my biggest problem was how are we going to split the electric bill when I'm charging my car in all the time. So just kind of being a little excited to get the Tesla. I was watching a lot of YouTube on it. And then I just came across one at Jehu Garcia, but he just showed how to make a Powerwall, but it was only like 1 kilowatt, but it intrigued me. Put $300 on it. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Let me see how you do that. And then that's pretty much what got it started. I mean, when I started this, I'm dead serious. I didn't know the difference between a volt and an amp. I just had to do, so I just pretty much had to do all this. As soon as I saw that, you know what, I could do that. Then that was the floodgates opening. Then I just wanted to learn everything I could.
I think I learned how to change a toilet out on YouTube once, but making your own.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was kind of a question I have in one of my lists was, now that you've been through this, what type of suggestions do you have for new people coming in? Should they, if they know nothing, like you said, you knew nothing, do you suggest people go through that, or should they research a bit more? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did a ton of research before I even got a battery pack to open, because I'm dead serious. I don't know much about like electricity when it was happening, so I don't know what could kill me, what would just shock me.
Have you had any zaps? Have you had any scares? Have you gotten any good?
Yeah, I've had not scares, because luckily everything is fused. So like, but I've had it where I accidentally put two together, basically like a reverse polarity, and I just saw all these lights flash like around, like going down the pack, because I had done it wrong. So it basically, they all popped. So it's like 240, it takes me like 2 hours to do one pack. And I think 3 packs went down. So it was like, I've done that, and I've shocked myself, but not nearly bad, when I'm like opening up like a pack, like, cause you get laptop batteries, and if you ever seen one, they're not easy to open. You actually got to get tools and try to pry it open. Then you rip it open with your hands. Like my hands will be all cut up until I was smart enough to get gloves. But once you do that, once you get the hang of that, then you shock yourself a little less. But I think I'm pretty good at it, and I still not shock myself, but I'll see just a big spark. I'm like, oh, shoot.
So this is clearly a do not try this at home, unless you want to try this at home.
Yeah.
A risky. I mean,
it is DIY.
It is DIY, but yeah, I'm
try this
a firm
at
believer
home.
firm believer in measure twice, cut once. Just I'm always gonna just make sure I know what I'm doing first, and then that's part of the fun. As you're trying to learn, you're putting stuff together, and you didn't shock yourself.
Yeah, I watched that video, that channel you mentioned, the guy that, the name you mentioned earlier, I forget his name.
Jehu Garcia.
Jehu Garcia.
Yeah.
I watched that one, and his, we used $300. It was actually 180 in parts, and then it was 120 in cosmetics. So it was kind of funny. That he got it down to that price. From your experience, did you do pretty much the same thing, or can you say, is it $180 now, or is it even less nowadays?
No. I still have people I know, just because I had a Craigslist ad up for a while, where I would say, if you had a dead battery or dead scooter battery, dead hoverboard, dead electric bike, all those have the lithium ion cells, which I've actually brought these little guys. They're just 18650s. See, these have been tested, so that's how I just mark them down. Oh, nice. But yeah, if anything has this, I mean, medical packs, laptop batteries, although they're going with the flatter ones now because laptops are skinnier. But anything like that will have one of those cells. And then once you have those cells, you just build them, test them, and then you can start putting it together. But to answer your question, yes and no, because there's a few ways you can build these, especially since it kind of caught on. Before, it was all just buy copper. Go get copper bars, go get copper wire, and put it together. And that's kind of what I stuck with the big packs. Oh, sorry. But there's other ways to do it too. You can solder onto the batteries. You can spot weld onto the batteries. That's a little safer. But
so that lithium ion cell, is that correct, that you just showed us? That is that basically the same kind of battery that goes into Tesla Powerwalls and Tesla Model 3s? Is that what we're looking at?
The Model X and the Model S, those ones all use these not the exact battery, but Panasonic version of these.
But basically the same thing, right?
Basically the same thing. The newer ones, I don't know if you saw Battery Day with Tesla. They're coming out with these new batteries, but in between that big step are batteries that are like these. I think they're 2750s, and they're just a little thicker and a little wider, like a little taller and a little wider around. So I guess it's the most efficient you can get a battery before you have to step up to their new battery that they're making.
So that battery you're holding, how does that compare to something like we would know what a D battery is that will stick in a flashlight, right? So how does that, is that like 10 times the juice in there, or how does that measure up to like a D battery?
I wouldn't say 10 times the juice. I would say maybe, because right here, you'll see that I marked them after I test them. So the 2735, that's how many milliamp hours are in it. And these are 4.2 volts. And then the 26 next to it, that's the internal resistance. If the internal resistance is too high, then you don't want to. There's so many reasons to not use one of these, but you have to really test it. Like I use with my iPhone, I have like a thermal camera. So as they're testing, you got to test to see if they get hot. You got to test the internal resistance. you got to test if once they're done charging at 4.2 volts. It's called what is that called? I think it's like ghost or phantom draining, where you'll just have it fully charged and then you'll test it a week later and it's at 3.6, not 4.2 anymore. It just sagged because
Right.
it's just dying. So you have to test all of that before you can say this one cell is good. So
Okay. So of all the recycled batteries that you're collecting, how many of them are decent and good for reusing? You know, how many do you have to disqualify?
Yeah. Actually, if you're using laptop batteries, you might be able to get